Hey, welcome back to another edition of Open Shutter. I have the pleasure welcoming Bob McGrath on, man. Thanks for jumping on this thing.
Thanks. How are you?
I'm fine. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. A bit nervous,
Yeah.
but
Are you? There's
I,
nothing, nothing to
I
be
don't.
nervous about. Just people chatting, man. Just people chatting. I just think I don't. I really like your stuff, and you have a really good eye. I think.
Oh, thank you. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. I
Yeah.
honestly, I enjoy feedback, so I really do.
Yeah.
Which
It's hard. Yeah. It's good to get feedback these days. Like actual feedback,
yes,
and not just like, hey, nice photo. Okay.
it's true. A couple of years ago, there was a pro photographer who is a client was mainly a climbing photographer. He
Right.
was looking at some of my stuff and just out of the blue just messaged me and said, "Hey, I like some of your stuff, but I think you're adding too much saturation."
Okay.
Just constructive criticism,
Yeah.
and it was amazing. Like it
Yeah.
really, to me, it was one of these things where it's like, oh well, yeah, I'm gonna listen to that, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. And I think sometimes people wouldn't appreciate it, but I was looking at it. This is a guy. He mostly shot on film, which is even funnier. So,
Right.
but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he must have looked at some of my stuff and went, "Oh my God, he's got to stop doing this."
Yeah, I guess it was really bothering him, eh?
It must have been, but it was it came out positively. Like
Yeah, it's the tone of it. It's the
he
tone of it.
he probably maybe had to rewrite it like 10 times to get the
Right.
tone, properly.
Right.
But I truly appreciated it, and I took it to heart immediately and went,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay." But you know, I I try not to do that as much, but occasionally I do try to say to some people, "Hey, you know, black and white is great and it looks moody, but not everything looks good in black and white."
Sure. Yeah, there's always there's always like a time and place of like for black and white, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
there,
yeah.
and so, you know, trying to be trying to be open to
Yeah.
criticism.
Yeah, it's not even yeah, it's just like no one's perfect. Like there's always like no matter how good you think you are, there's always something to like improve upon. And I think that's something that I take for myself is like it's not perfect. You just have to be happy with it, like move on. And to really improve on the craft, you really have to be open to like other people's opinions, really, and not take it so personally. Like, oh, okay, that's the way you feel.
Well, it's true. I think, that's part of the reason I'm on Instagram is for feedback, because I don't know if this has happened to you, but take a picture, you think it's perfect, everything's great, and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to post it, and people are going to love
Yeah,
it," and it gets nothing. And so
yeah,
I always, A, I second guess myself, but then B, sometimes I'm like, "Oh, okay, maybe I'm wrong."
right.
So,
Yeah, you kind of like doubt, doubt yourself, eh? A little
yeah,
bit.
and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know,
Everyone, go check out Bob. This is his this is his Instagram. You like winter, eh?
well, no, I embrace. Well, hold on, I do enjoy winter. I embrace
Yeah,
it. I,
that's good,
you
man.
know, I also think it makes you a better photographer because you have to find those small windows of
Yeah,
opportunity, and you
yeah,
have to suffer. So that's,
yeah,
suffering for
yeah.
your art is never a bad thing.
Man, is this like around where you live?
This is basically, yeah, around where I live mostly. Yeah.
Jeez,
So, you know,
nice.
actually the sort of kind of with the line of trees and stuff, that's just driving down a road in Caledon, just on a foggy day, just
Oh,
stopped.
this one here?
Yeah, I just stopped and went, "This is
Oh, that's super
too good."
cool.
So really just kind of, being
Yeah,
prepared to stop when driving is always a good thing in my opinion. So
yeah. I guess you always have your like camera in the car, eh? Like it's always with you.
I try to, and then at the very least you can shoot with your phone
Yeah, yeah.
if needed. But generally, if I know, like, I'm in Collingwood, if I'm driving Toronto, I try to keep my camera with me,
Right.
just for the occasional. I think I've taken, you know, 5 or 6 shots in the last, month, just
Yeah,
driving, from
yeah.
Toronto.
Right.
And then
Man,
you can
I
see a
like
lot
that.
of the,
I
yeah,
like that.
well, that's
I like that
actually,
a lot.
That is the same day that other picture I was talking about was taken. That was literally another 3 or 4 kilometers away.
So
Just an
cool, man.
abandoned
It's
hotel.
almost it's almost like a drawing.
Yes, that was the appearance. I drove by it and went, "Oh, there's something there," and then I kind of
Yeah.
had to turn around, backed up. The fog. It was kind of. We had a little bit of a thaw right after Christmas. It was right then,
Right.
and so yeah,
Oh, I see. Yeah, I like it a lot, man. Very cool. Very cool.
yeah.
So like what do you want people to like know about your work? Like what's like your thing?
Well, my thing is obviously landscapes and outdoors. The
Yeah.
majority of photos I take, I'm usually running or hiking. So, you know,
Right.
the occasional, like, of course, the ones with the duck, that was just because I've never seen that many ducks before in my entire life. So,
Mm, this
and
one, eh?
yeah, it looks photoshopped. When I took the
It
picture,
does, man.
I, I, I actually was like, I took a small video to kind of prove in case someone went, oh, this is AI. I wish it was.
Yeah.
I don't think AI can be that random. So,
Oh man. Collingwood, eh? It's the
yeah.
place that everyone's got to go check out.
Well, the terminals, it's a classic building,
Yeah.
unfortunately going to be turning into a hotel in the next couple of years. So,
Oh, really? Eh?
yeah, so the aesthetics might change, but
That's
they've
too
talked,
bad.
yeah, they've talked about tearing it down, which I also think would be a mistake because, that's something to look at, so to
No,
speak.
100%. Definitely adds character.
That's exactly true. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's like, I mean, beside Blue Mountain, like what's like the main attraction up in Collingwood?
Well, if you're active, so I run, I ride, I mountain bike, I ski,
Jeez.
I do everything basically. And so,
Yeah.
you know, I try to part of it is like how I started photography was I was a climber for 10 years. And
Oh,
so
like
being
rock climber?
rock climber, ice climber, go out west, climb big mountains, things like that. And
Oh,
so
that's cool.
it's easy to become a photographer when you're a climber because you're in such beautiful spaces. I also,
Right.
this was at a time when we were shooting on film, so you learn to frame things. Like it's like I got to take this one shot, but I have to take 3 or 4 pictures because I've got I only have this
Yeah, of
second
course.
to take the shot,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I can't tell you how many times you get home after a 2-week climbing trip and you're looking at your photos and you're like, I just missed it. The shot was
Yeah.
there, I missed it. So.
Right, eh? Man. So you're not doing like any like rock climbing or anything anymore?
Not as much.
Yeah.
You kind of ebb and flow, and it's like, you end up doing so much. I also have a 9-year-old, so we go
Right.
indoor rock climbing a bit, but
That's cool.
it's yeah, it's just as I said, it sort of ebbs and flows, and right now I'm off it. I'll probably get back into it. I tried to during the pandemic, but
Yeah.
kind of kind of the pandemic really caused an issue for everybody, so to speak.
Sure, sure. Like is there rock climbing in like in Ontario? I guess
Actually,
there
yeah,
is.
yeah, there is. There's
Huh.
Milton, which is classic. Rattlesnake Point is where a lot of people climb. Usually they
Uh,
top rope there. Mount Nemo, which is across the valley, uh,
right, right.
is beautiful. Up here we have Metcalf Rock, we have Devil's Glen, and we have Mount Old Baldy, which
Yeah.
all 3 places great place to take pictures anyway, even on hiking.
Yeah.
Because you're up high.
Yeah.
So, but,
I guess if you're climbing, it's hard to take photos because you're trying to focus on one thing,
well, your
I
belayer
suppose.
generally takes the photos, or when you're bringing
Yeah.
somebody up. But the adjustable viewfinder was pretty
Right.
brilliant. So years and years ago, the Canon G2 digital camera, which was the bomb, and
Yeah.
it was only like 8 or 10 megapixels. It had
Yeah.
adjustable screen, so you could
Mm,
play and take pictures at the same time, which was really
nice.
beneficial. And then what was funny is camera companies stopped doing that for years, and then they finally went back to it.
Oh,
And
really?
Yeah, because everything, they'd have the flat screen. Anyway, I'm just happy that, screens are mobile like that, especially because, it gets tiresome trying to lie on the ground and get to frame something through a viewfinder. So
Yeah. I don't know, it just seems so basic, no? Just having it like
it's true.
it's yeah, it's funny. It's funny sometimes what camera companies do sometimes. It's like, just give us the basic thing. That's all we want.
It's very well. I guess they have to sell cameras, and
They gotta sell. No,
you
they
know,
gotta
I,
sell.
I sort of made a pact, like when I started shooting again, was that I wasn't gonna get into gear too much,
Okay.
like because I have so much gear from other stuff I do,
Yeah.
skiing, through pairs of skis, a snowboard, did all of this stuff. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna have the camera that I have,
Yeah.
and I'll buy a tripod. I bought a crappy tripod. I'm still kind of embarrassed to use a tripod a lot of the time. I'm
Why?
not embarrassed to use it. I'm embarrassed to get caught if I'm somewhere beautiful, setting
Mhm.
up a shot, have the tripod, and then a couple walks by on a nice little hike. I always
Mhm.
just like, oh, well, I'm just ruining this for everybody.
Oh, really, for them?
Yeah,
Nah.
well, yeah, and remember, because a lot of this stuff I'm trying to be on a trail. I step off the trail
Yeah.
quickly. So, you know, I
Is it
think
kind
it's
of like a is it kind of like a hiker rule or something?
no, I think it's just more of an imposter syndrome thing.
Ah, okay.
uh, but
Really, eh?
I shoot a lot handheld, which I still, shooting landscapes handheld isn't always the greatest thing, but it
Yeah.
seems to work. So, or at
Yeah.
least that's for now.
Yeah. Interesting, eh? Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I say just do whatever you feel is right.
Yeah,
Whatever
absolutely.
whatever gets you the shot, like I think people are just focused on themselves a lot too. Like they may not even really notice you. Like just they're just focused on themselves, right? So I just figured, just do what you got to do, man. Like,
No, it's a
you
good
know what I
point.
mean?
I try
Just
to. I bring it, but sometimes also if I'm running, like if I'm doing like a 15K run, but I'm bringing my camera, I don't
yeah.
always bring a tripod because I just don't want to carry it most of the
Yeah, I could see that.
time. But
Okay.
and then sometimes I'll run with just my phone,
Right.
take a photo with my phone, and then come back later
Yeah.
with my big.
Almost like scouting.
Yeah, it's generally scouting. Sometimes though, the light was perfect when I took the
Right.
shot on the phone.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like I guess it's going to be a phone shot.
Yeah, I
So
guess it might have to be. Well, also like less gear is also very freeing, I find. It's a very freeing thing to like not have as much on you,
I
you
would
know.
think so. I,
It's
you
just
know, I'm envious, like
yeah.
of someone that has, six different lenses and all of them. But
Yeah.
you know, I just made it a pact just not to do that because I think, I think it's very easy to get into the gear. Like,
Oh
you know,
yeah. It never
it's,
ends.
it never ends and there's always better stuff. There's
Every
always
year.
prime
Every year.
lenses, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
astrophotography, I've wanted to shoot. And, it's like, oh, well, I got to buy a new lens for that. If, for the big camera,
Yeah.
I shot some astrophotography with my iPhone and I was
Nice.
kind of amazed going, hey, this isn't that bad. Like
Yeah.
better than I thought it would be. So,
Yeah. Exactly. And you shot Astro, which is fun.
yeah, which, Astro is, I get it. I, I might not have the patience for it
Right.
because I think that's the biggest flaw is that sometimes I don't wait long enough to, for light to change and things like that.
Ah, you want to get in and out, eh?
Well, sometimes, and then sometimes you're just like, oh, okay, I think I've exhausted it. But then you call it parking lot photos, like parking lot skies. You get
Yeah.
back to the car and you look in the sky, and the sky is perfect. Like you're
Yeah.
like, oh, great.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
just
That's great
so,
timing, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. I find like a lot of photography is just like a lot of patience sometimes. It could be like even like street photography, like you just gotta kind of wait and just wait for life to unfold because you can't force life to unfold. You gotta like just wait and just okay, let's see what happens.
that's a good point. I
You know?
love street photography.
Yeah.
find street photography intimidating because you see, I'll do some street photography and I'll go, and then you see somebody else's street photography and you're like, how is that different? Or theirs just looks better.
Yeah.
And, it's frustrating, but not like I don't shoot it enough to really,
Yeah.
get into it. So,
Yeah, we're always our own worst critics.
yes,
We never really like our work as much as we should, I think. I think we always want to compare our work to others too, I find. Like, their stuff is better, or how'd you do this, or how'd you do that? And,
yeah, absolutely.
very easy to fall into that game.
I read an article with a pro photographer who basically said you get about 4 to 8 good shots a year.
Oh, yeah? A year?
A year. And it does make sense. So you take, just say you have 25 good shots that you think you've taken. And if you sit down and you look, I bet you you get it down to, 6 and go, yeah, these 6 are perfect. Those other 19 are good. And I use that in my head as like, okay, so take the shots and know that they're not all going to be perfect, but they also don't always have to be perfect too. So
yeah. Like, what is perfect in your eyes?
I think it's a feeling. I hate to say it. I know that's not,
it's good.
whatnot, but I just think it's just, you feel, and that's where I think I was mentioning Instagram that, sometimes emotionally gets you is you take a shot and you're like, everyone should love this shot. Yet, no, nothing. And I'm like, well, and then occasionally I do go, you know what? They're right. It isn't that compelling. It was more compelling to me. So.
Interesting.
And
well, how do you take a compelling shot that compels everyone?
Well, I guess that's the $1 million question.
Yeah,
right?
that's just like, I don't know. That's like next level stuff, I guess.
Yeah, that's when you've hit it, and you just
But is it like the photographer or the photo? Like, is it the photographer that compels it, or is it the photo? Because if the best street photographer in the world takes a photo, that might get more attention versus someone that nobody knows.
Yeah, true. Well, I think that's the photography is like canoeing, is that everybody can get into a canoe and propel the boat forward.
Yeah.
But there's lots of accidents in canoes because people can do the paddling part just fine. It's when stuff goes bad that becomes the issue. And photography, everybody has a fairly good camera on them at all times. And you can sometimes, but I don't know if you've seen this on Instagram. There's occasionally you see photos just of a regular person's taking a photo and posted it, and you're like, that's an amazing photo. And I always go out of my way to let somebody know. I'm like, hey, this is a great photo.
Yeah.
And I think some people think you're making fun of them, but I'm more just in awe going, oh no, this created a feeling. And I think that's hard to do. Art's supposed to create a feeling. So
yeah, it should really create a feeling for sure. I like that feeling. I like that. That's good, man.
Yeah. I'm sounding very deep, but I do think art, I'm not super artistic. Photography is probably the most artistic thing I can do.
Yeah.
And that's probably the imposter syndrome kicks in where I'm like, I don't know, how am I able to do this?
Yeah.
But,
it's part of the game, man. It's just part of the game. Having imposter syndrome is just part of what we signed up for. I don't know what it is, but that's just part of it.
And I don't know if you've I look at a lot of different photography, like there's skateboarding photography that I just think is stunning. Just where you just see it and you're just like, I don't know why it's compelling. I skated as a kid, but it's like, oh no, it's like street photography / athletics, like sport, like it's, it kind of amazes me. So
yeah. It's cool, man. So what do you think makes your stuff stand out in like the marketplace? You think what is there something unique that you kind of bring to your stuff?
Well, I like big skies. I'm willing to work to get to a spot. Like I'm willing to work a little harder to get to a spot.
Yeah.
you know, I'm willing to get up early. I'm willing to run in, you know, 10K.
Right.
Photo of me running through a set of trees and whatnot on my phone.
Yeah, you've already kind of got that skill set
Yeah.
already, or like already ingrained.
Yeah, and I was running. I ran through that forest, and I was like, this is kind of perfect." And the sun was,
Yeah,
you know, hitting the trees. So, you know, for me, I'm willing. I think by doing a lot of running while, you know, with my camera, I'm able to
yeah,
get to more things, but also
right.
I'm able to stay on something that I might just overlook. Like,
Yeah, of course. You're probably going places people don't even know about.
well, that's a funny thing. I was going to ask about this. What feeling on people asking you where you take certain photos?
Yeah, like asking me.
Yeah, like, hey, you know, you took this great shot. Where is it? Do you give
Yeah,
immediately?
I I give like the general area, and if they really want to press me, I'll give it. But I mean, I sort of like having that kind of like space to like myself,
Yes.
you know.
I'm asking that because I had a guy who I think is fairly new to photography and
Hmm.
drone footage ask me about something recently. And at first I was kind of standoffish. He was asking me on Instagram. And then I'm like, well, one, I was gonna tell him anyway because where the shot was literally 50 feet from a parking lot.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna gatekeep something that's that close because it's like, but I said, hey, you know, you shouldn't always ask. And then I then kind of paused and I said, hey, wait, ask as much as you want. I can say no. That's, you know, and
I'm
then I
not gonna
realized,
tell you. I'm not gonna tell you.
you know, I can say no, and you know, and because I don't want to gatekeep everything.
Right.
I don't know if you've found this on Instagram. Um, you get a lot of lifestyle people wanting to know
Hmm.
where certain things are, and
Hmm.
you get frustrated with that because it's like, no, you don't. You're not there to take a photo. You're there to take a photo to show everybody. You're not there to
Yeah.
just take the picture,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, or you have a great idea that would work at that. So
Yeah.
but yeah, the gatekeeping I think is bad, but I understand kind of keeping your, you know, sometimes you, if you work hard to get to something, you know, you kind of want to keep it to yourself to an extent.
Yeah. You sort of just want to keep the secret and
Yeah,
not kind of give away all your secrets.
exactly.
It's hard to find like really like places that no one's been to that no one has a photo of because you go in because as soon as you like let that secret out, there's going to be a million photos of that place all of a sudden.
Uh,
So it kind of loses its luster,
it's true.
a
I
little
have
bit.
up here I call Secret Beach.
Secret beach.
It's not a secret beach, but
Yeah.
not a lot of people know about it, and I
Yeah.
don't know the name of the beach.
Yeah.
So
Well, you just named it, so there you go.
you know, I take friends there, but people know about it. It's just for some reason, you know, I'm there more often, and there's just not a lot of people there.
Yeah. It's great.
You know, which
It's
is
the
great,
best.
and it's you know perfect for sunsets, and you know,
Yeah.
it's pretty. It's a nice little place, but
Yeah. Where is it?
well, it's you know it's on the Georgian Bay coast. It's
Okay.
not
All
that,
right.
honestly, it's not that secret. But
It's not that
if you were
secret.
ever up here, I would take you to Secret Beach
Oh yeah.
without a problem. That's
Okay.
basically what I, you know. But I don't have a name for the place, so I just call it Secret Beach.
Good.
So
It's actually a good name.
yeah, and
It's actually
then
a good name.
you know, I just and it's funny like well during the we had Northern Lights like 4 times in the span of like
Yeah.
I think
Wild, eh?
30
Is that
days.
is that like a record?
it, it generally was for me. I had seen them twice before and both like
Yeah.
very faintly. And like in May, we just had the be all and end all that
Yeah.
started at 10:30. And I was at a beach here just at the end of a road. And for the first half hour, I had the whole beach to myself.
Nice.
Nobody was there. I got to watch them. I got to take photos, and it was great. And then I realized as more people were coming, it was actually more fun. Like there were people, and
Yeah.
I stopped taking pictures as much of just landscape, and I started taking pictures of people
Right.
on the beach
Very
looking
cool.
at northern lights. And I don't always, well, generally, I would say 80% of the people in the photos in my Instagram, I don't know who those people are.
Yeah.
So, you know, running ones take, if it's a guy, it tends to be me because I'll be
Right.
running and I'll be like, this needs somebody, and
Yeah.
it's hard to find people to go like, hey, I have a place that we need, we can go, but we have to go at a certain time,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and then you get, I don't know if you know this about like climbing photography, is sometimes you bring like different clothing, like shirts or jackets, just to get different colors.
Okay.
You can
Yeah.
take like 3 shots, but if the person's wearing the same thing, you know, and so you don't want to have to say to someone, hey, can you come and just bring another jacket and this and that,
Right, right.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. Got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and, with more action photography, the way people look matters to an extent. Like
Of
if they're
course.
matching, they're not overly matching, but just matching helps. So, you know,
Yes, 100% it does.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Well, I think it's important to like place people in like the setting too.
yes,
Like, have some sort of like context to like what's to like where you are,
yeah, perspective, absolutely. Especially
100%.
in the big mountains, definitely.
Yeah.
Mountains are big, but they don't look big until you put somebody in front of them.
Yeah. You need the scale, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you learn that. You learn the rule of thirds quite quickly when you're
Right.
yeah, shooting climbing, because you'll be on the side of a mountain, your buddy will be coming up, and you're like, okay, I want the wall here, this
Yeah.
guy over here, and
Yeah.
you want to make your buddy, you want everyone to think it's scarier than it is, basically.
100%. I wouldn't do it. I'm scared of heights, so I probably wouldn't do it.
Well,
But
you might not be scared of heights, you might be scared of exposure.
maybe
Most
that too.
most people, I use the example of, if you can go out on a patio on the 30th floor, as long as it has railings,
Yeah.
probably not scared of heights. But if you took the railing off and
Yeah.
the patio's the same size and you were like, I'm not going out, that's exposure. Most people
Yeah.
are scared of exposure.
That's what it probably is for me. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
It's you get it, and that's a natural thing. The exposure
Yeah.
thing is a natural thing. So
Right. Okay. Interesting. So, like, have you worked with like brands and things in like the mountaineering industry?
not really, because I didn't shoot enough then, that when I was climbing, and I was climbing, I was only climbing in the real mountains, like, once or twice a year for a couple of weeks. It's a
Okay.
lot tougher to sell photos to, at the time, magazines, when people are in, they're in the Rockies, they're in Pakistan, they're in France, like
Yeah.
Chamonix, which is a valley in the Alps. It's like any, pardon for lack of a better word, any idiot can take a beautiful photo, like a
Yeah.
stunning photo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think you have to work really hard to get good shots of climbing here. And
Mm.
they're just not as, they're just not as dramatic. There's
Yeah.
just something about, big mountains that, snow caps,
Right.
and that personally, that's me. And I probably critique mountain photos probably more. So, you know, but
I've watched so many documentaries about like Everest and people climbing mountains. It's crazy. It's
yeah, oh,
crazy.
it's the armchair mountaineer is like, that's a great thing. So,
Like,
just, but I still love the photography, like a lot.
yeah.
Like I would say, like I've got most of because I've never taken a photography course or anything like that.
Yeah.
Most of that came just from being like shooting in the mountains and looking at magazines.
Mm.
And, I guess that's dating myself, looking at magazines, but
Well, I think that's just the way most people learn, is just by doing that.
yeah,
Because you don't really need school per se. I mean, it's like, to me, it's like people learn in different ways. Like some people may need an actual like school environment, and other people don't need it. So it just depends on how you learn, really. But
true.
you know,
And I think with the like going to school for it, I think you're learning, technical, which is great. And then if you can mix the technical with sort of the passion, because you see a lot of people who are like, they try to be brand photographers or
Mhm.
things like that, and some of them are, their brand photography doesn't have as much passion as you would hope, because when you do see brand photography with passion, you're like, oh, how is this a compelling picture? You know, it's a
Right.
picture of a can, but somehow I'm compelled. You know, it's, you know, storytelling is a big thing. I think I need to work on storytelling more on my photography,
Yeah.
but you know, it's
What do you
tough.
what do you what like what do you want to do?
Well, it's just more like, you know, I I sort of put, there's two categories. Sometimes you're documenting, and sometimes you're a photographer.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just taking a picture and you're going, "Hey, this is really cool looking," and
Mm.
then I think that's documenting. 90% of the people with an iPhone document stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They fluke into good pictures, but sometimes it's just documentation, so to speak. And then photography is like, oh, okay, I'm going to wait till the sun hits this, or I'm going to wait till the sun just starts to come up, you know, and sometimes it's better the sunsets. I always tell everybody the sunrise is a way more of a commitment than a sunset. You know, you get up, you get ready, you're like, this is going to be great. And there's no cloud, you get nothing.
Yeah.
Sunset, you know, less commitment. So
Depends on the time of year too. Summertime, you're up about like 4 a.m.
yeah, it's true, very true.
Yeah.
That actually right now is pretty good, except we never really get like the last few sunrises here, you get about 10 minutes of a sunrise and then it goes into clouds. So
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough this time of year.
yeah, and that's kind of why I try, like you were saying, oh, I like winter. It's like, well, I like working on like crappy conditions and
Mm.
trying to, you know, figure it out. Like, hey, like if you can get a good shot in crappy conditions, having good conditions you should be just better after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to stay challenged.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, you know, that's the beauty of photography, is that, you know, I don't I don't think there's ever a mic drop, right? Like, go, well, I can't take a better picture. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would like to experience that though, where it's like,
The
oh,
mic drop moment.
yeah, where it's like, oh, I don't need to take another picture again. And I don't know, you see it online sometimes. You see a photo and you're like, well, I'm not sure I would want to take pictures after that, because
Yeah.
everybody will look at your next picture going, this is
Yeah. Well, that's,
this.
yeah, that's yeah, I'm not sure because like why would you want to stop? You would want to keep going. And like there really is no end point. If you really want to like do it for like the long term, there really is no, oh, I've really made it now. Like this is like my moment versus like, there's people like I said earlier, like no one's perfect. There's always something to learn. So
Yeah,
there's always someone better than you. Like it doesn't matter how good you are, there's always gonna be someone better than you
absolutely. And you
at any
want to,
time.
you know, evolve as a person, evolve as an artist. And, you know,
Yeah.
you know, that, you know, as I said, I do a lot of sports, and that's kind of, you know, you evolve. Like, you know, running never gets easier, you just get faster.
Yeah.
And
It's
so,
not the shoes, it's the runner.
yeah. And, you know, there's always bigger things to ski. You know, there's bigger things to,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably why that's what separates artists is just that, you
absolutely.
know, you know. And artists aren't really like true artists, I don't think are in it for like the validation aspect either. I think they just make it and move on. You know
That's
what I
true.
mean? I was saying like last week, I was saying like probably the best artists you probably don't even know of. Like they're just like they're not on social media. They're just there making their stuff and they move on.
There's a guy on Instagram who basically just finds photographers and just promotes their work and says, "Hey, this photographer." Now, for the life of me, I can't remember this guy's name.
Yeah.
But he'll just say, "This person takes really good shots of this," and then he just kind of does a quick profile of them, and then just
Okay.
go and look. And it's great because it's not curated as much as it's just like, hey, he sees this, he really likes it,
Really? Yeah.
he's promoting it, and I'm like, this is great, because, you know, I follow him simply, and now as I saying this, it's terrible I don't remember the guy's name, but but it's just good. He's just promoting interesting photographers, and then
Really?
you see interesting photographers, you get inspired, or at least,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah.
like I go, you know, to art galleries and things like that to get inspiration. Like, you know, I really like, there's a painter from Newfoundland, Christopher Pratt, who does a lot of linear painting.
Nice.
So a lot of, you know, landscapes with straight lines and things like that.
Nice.
Alex Oldville's kind of the same way.
Right.
And, you know, and I've taken a couple of shots, like I've taken actually recently a couple of shots that are very, you know, Christopher Pratt like. So
Cool. Yeah. Well, it's good to get inspired by different people, not just people that do photography, but just people that do different kinds of mediums.
exactly.
It's a great way to get inspired, I think.
Yeah, and that's, but even using photography, like a street photographer, I think, you know, they inspire me. You know, I really, really love intentional camera movement. Like, there's just something, and I think it's funny because I think some people get it and some people don't, and they're both right. Like the person's like, that's just a blurry picture, and you're like, yes, it is. You're absolutely right.
Right.
But don't you feel it? And they don't feel it, and it's like, okay, well, I can't argue with you. Technically, this is a blurry picture.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. There really is no right or wrong answer, I suppose,
That
in the
true.
grand scheme of it.
Yeah.
That's why it's called art, I guess.
Well, yeah, and so I laugh because I do take, you know, I try to take some intentional camera movement stuff, and I rarely post it.
Oh, you don't?
Well, I posted a little. I just think sometimes it just, I'm like, am I just posting blurry pictures? Like, but
Well, if you like it, you like it. What are you going to do?
I really do. And then, you know, like I took a shot on my Instagram of basically of like a wind cornice, like a wind blown cornice. So I have a bunch of intentional camera movement shots, mainly were 70-kilometer-hour winds. So some shots I couldn't get, and there was so much kind of snow that the autofocus was capturing the snow right in front of the lens.
Right. Oh, jeez.
So, but I was like, hey, this isn't that bad. I'm gonna post them because I am curious to see if people get it, and then you know, you never know. So,
hey, if you like it, you like it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that feeling again, right?
It is a feeling. And now, do you shoot with a bunch of people, or do you just go out solo?
I mix it both. Mix it peep solo with people. Yeah, I'm around town. I mean, in Toronto, there's so many groups, that do different things. Like it's pretty crazy, like how many groups there are. But yeah, depends on my mood, I guess. I suppose, right? But
I definitely see it. You guys, there's a lot of that go to that one spot, I guess, near Etobicoke that gets the
yeah.
Well,
that's what I mean. Like to me, it's like, it's not that I'm bored of it, but like I've been there. Like I know, like it's like it doesn't really excite me. Like I need to go to different places and different spots, and like we were saying earlier, but having like your secret beach, like I like having this like my secret beach places.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know even if there are groups up here. There might be. I've never really investigated.
Yeah, there might be. You can start one.
Yeah, I can't. Occasionally people will, message me and say, hey, I'm coming up, and, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to be around. So
right.
Show you something and things like that, but through photography, I've met people like that have just, where it's like, oh, we'll just pop out and, do some shots. The issue sometimes is coming up here. Not all kind of street photographers enjoy, on being on the trails as much, because being a street photographer is kind of great because you are right where you're taking your photos. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You just park the car, or your car's 20 feet away, which is
exactly.
During the Northern Lights, that was a little bit more helpful. That at one point, well, we had them so much that the first time, I was mentioning this before, the first time I, just spent my time, I spent 5 hours at one beach. That's it.
Wow.
Second time there was like a thunderstorm happening, and I caught a bit. It was great. I missed a shot where had the Northern Lights, and lightning went off in a cloud, and
Oh
I
no.
caught the edge. And it was just it's a fluke. Like catching lightning is a fluke anyway, and I just caught it. I missed it by probably 3 centimeters. Kills me to this day. But about a week later, we had another huge Northern Light storm, and I started on one beach.
Yeah.
And since I had so many shots of the Northern Lights, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to a second location, because usually you're worried that it's just going to stop and you're going to miss out. And then that's when I ended up going from the beach. I went up the mountain, then put on my trail running shoes and kind of ran down onto the ski hill. And that's where I took all those Northern Light shots on the ski hill.
Cool.
You know, but if I hadn't had sort of that time of being able to just take pure shots of it, I wouldn't have had the guts to like get up and leave, because, you know, we've had it here where they lasted an hour.
Really, eh?
Yeah, I have a friend. We have like, I think it's called the Aurora app, and so it'll give you warnings. And now those things 99% of the time don't work.
Right.
So she has a big picture window and lives about 40 kilometers, basically away in Creemore. And she has a big bay window that she looks out of, and she'll message me and go, hey, you know, it's I think it's happening.
It's happening. It's the moment is now.
Yeah, I basically. And so we've never actually met up, because it's just like, well, we're not going to drive like, 20 kilometers. We're just get outside, get to a spot where, there's, something to look at. And I think that's the other thing, is knowing like where to go, so to speak. So
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge. 100% it is.
When with the Northern Lights, it's because you just never know. They can just stop like for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's like the cosmos.
Yeah.
There's no control. There's no on and off button.
It's totally that. And the one in May, they said this was like one of the best ones in 20 or 30 years. And
nice.
It had to have been pretty damn good, because I was, at a beach for 5 hours. And
this better be.
Yeah, completely content. Just, I don't think I'll experience that. I think, I'm starting to see like there's been a lot of activity the last couple of days. So, people kind of more in none of it and stuff have been getting some pretty spectacular ones. There's a chance tonight. There was a chance last night, but there was 100% cloud cover. Tonight, there might be a chance. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, hopefully, man. Hopefully you get something.
You kind of pop out, and then, it's just so hit and miss with the Northern Lights.
Yeah, true, eh? That's great.
And then you have to message people, because then you get why didn't you message me?
Yeah, how come you didn't tell me?
There's one time it was 1 o'clock in the morning. I just happened to be awake when someone messaged me going, hey, I just woke up and there's this. I was like, oh, okay, perfect. I'm going out. So
beautiful, eh?
Right now, the big thing that people are getting are, it's warmed up. So our ice beams. There are beams of light that just look like lights are shooting from the sky. Like it's just ice crystals. And so they're ice pillars, basically. Yeah. So a lot of people, there was someone on Instagram that was like, what is this? I was like, oh, this is what it is. And I'm like, I've never seen them. And it's usually if you're up at like 4 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
And driving. I have yet to see someone actually take a picture of one not in their car.
Oh, man. Well, that's definitely a commitment, man. 4 a.m. you're driving. That is a commitment.
Most people are driving to work. I think that's
that's probably what it is, eh?
Because I'm not committing to something, Well, I'll commit if I know it's going to happen, but I'm not going to commit if it's just it's minus 30 out. There might be ice pillars.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, that's crazy, man. Cool, man. I just want to say thanks again for coming on. Hopefully you enjoyed this thing.
Well, thanks for having me. No, it's just great. I really enjoy it. I like listening to all the other guys, and
you should come back on some other time. We can chat about some other stuff.
Sure, that sounds great.
Cool.
Awesome.
Everyone, thanks everyone for watching, listening. Go check out Bob. Links are in the description. And thanks, Bob.
Well, have a good night.